A billionaire's most valuable asset isn't their stock portfolio, their real estate, or their glittering yachts. It's the one thing they never list on a balance sheet. It's their composure when the world is on fire. But how? How do they keep a cool head as billions of dollars evaporate, as thousands of people look to them for answers? Their secret isn't found on Wall Street. It's found within the dusty pages of 2,000-year-old Roman texts. In the next 15 minutes, we're going to decode this mental operating system. First, we'll dive deep into the paradox of power. Then we'll break down the 3 Stoic pillars they use to turn chaos into opportunity. And finally, you'll get 3 tools you can use to start building your own inner fortress. Let's begin. To understand the true power of this philosophy, we first have to understand the battlefield it was designed to conquer. And it's not the Roman Colosseum. It's the arena inside the minds of the powerful. This is the paradox of power, a gilded cage. You might think a billionaire's stress is just like ours, only on a larger scale. But that's a critical misunderstanding. Their problem isn't just stress. It's something far more subtle and corrosive, something psychologists call decision fatigue. The average person makes about 35,000 choices a day, most of them harmless. What to eat for breakfast, what color shirt to wear. But for a high-level leader, every decision carries immense weight. It's not choosing between 2 dishes, it's choosing between laying off 1,000 people to save the company or keeping them and risking bankruptcy. It's not picking an outfit, it's picking a $100 million marketing strategy that could decide the fate of an entire brand. The human brain fundamentally is not designed to withstand this kind of pressure constantly. It's like forcing a muscle to lift weights without rest. Sooner or later, it will fail. And when the mind is exhausted, terrible decisions are born. No one understands this better than Jack Dorsey, the man who once ran both Twitter and Square simultaneously. Just imagine, 2 companies, 2 visions, 2 boards of directors, 2 entirely different corporate cultures. The press called him a part-time CEO at both multi-billion-dollar corporations. Investors whispered behind his back, skeptical of his ability to steer both massive ships. Most people in that situation would choose to work 20-hour days, drink coffee instead of water, and slowly burn themselves out. But Dorsey did the opposite. He became famous for an almost brutally disciplined schedule. He meditated every morning, walked 5 miles to the office, ate only 1 meal a day, kept his meetings incredibly short and focused. The outside world saw chaos, but on the inside, Dorsey was building order. He wasn't trying to control everything. He was controlling the one thing he could, his own mind. And this raises the big question. Where does that extraordinary calm and discipline come from? This isn't simple time management. It's master-level mind management. It's an operating system installed deep inside that helps him filter out the noise, optimize his energy, and direct his actions with precision in the middle of a storm. An operating system we are about to decode. The mental operating system that Jack Dorsey and countless other leaders use isn't a new app from Silicon Valley. It's an OS that has been tested and refined for over 2,000 years. An OS installed deep in the mind to filter noise, optimize energy, and direct action. It has 3 core modules. The first module, and perhaps the most crucial in today's world of endless opportunity, is the power of the strategic no. This isn't about doing less to be lazy. This is the art of applying Stoicism's core principle, the dichotomy of control, to opportunity itself. The greatest minds understand that their time and focus are their most finite and precious assets. So they actively say no to 99 good opportunities, so they can devote all their energy to one great one. The philosopher Seneca said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere," a reminder that chasing everything at once means you'll never fully achieve anything. Investment legend Warren Buffett turned this philosophy into a rule for survival. When his personal pilot asked him for career-focusing advice, Buffett had him list his top 25 goals. Then he told him to circle his top 5. And finally, he delivered the ruthless command. The other 20 are now your avoid-at-all-cost list. Don't spend a single second on them until you've completed your top 5. That is the power of the strategic no. The second module is building the inner citadel. This is the difference between a tourist and a general. The tourist escapes outward to find peace. The general retreats inward to prepare for battle. The inner citadel is their mental strategy room, where they run two critical drills. First is rehearsing disaster. They don't just hope for the best, they prepare for the worst. They war game scenarios. The market crashes, a competitor launches a new product, a media crisis erupts. When disaster actually strikes, they don't panic, because they have already died in their minds 100 times. Second is the signal filter. They divide the world in two. The things they can control, like their actions, decisions, and attitude, and the things they cannot, like the market, their competitors, and the news. They dedicate 100% of their energy to the first category, and nearly 0% to the second. This makes them immune to informational noise and focused only on action. The final and most powerful module is Memento Mori, the motivation to build a legacy. To the average person, death is a fear. To the Stoic, death is the supreme strategic advisor. It whispers in their ear every day. Your time is finite. Don't waste it on petty battles and meaningless grudges. Build something that will last. Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." The awareness of death doesn't paralyze them. It liberates them. It gives them the courage to pursue massive goals, legacies that will endure long after they are gone. This is why we see a wave of tech billionaires like Bill Gates and Mackenzie Scott pivoting to philanthropy, to building a legacy instead of just accumulating wealth. But a critical question arises. Does this philosophy turn them into unfeeling machines, robots of pure logic? Absolutely not. And this is a subtle but crucial distinction. Stoicism is not an emotional void. It's emotional armor. Imagine a ship in a storm. Do you want a captain who is panicking and screaming, or one who is calm, focused, and giving precise orders to save the ship? Their calm is not a lack of feeling. It is responsibility. It is the ability to act on reason instead of panic, thereby protecting themselves and the people they lead. So how can we, who are not billionaires, begin to install this powerful operating system? The theory sounds appealing, but reality is always harsher. You can hear all of this, nod in agreement, but then tomorrow, when a colleague says something sharp, when the bills arrive, when a plan falls apart, you'll revert to your ingrained anger and anxiety. Here's the truth. Stoicism isn't a switch you can flip. It's a muscle you must train every day, and at first it will be sore. You will fail. You will forget. You will react instinctively. And that's perfectly normal. Even Marcus Aurelius in his meditations was constantly reminding himself of these principles. If an emperor needed to practice, so do we. The difficulty isn't that these concepts are complex. The difficulty lies in breaking the mental habits that have been wired into our subconscious for decades. But instead of trying to change everything at once, let's start with simple tools that have a powerful impact. Here are 3 exercises you can start tonight. Tool 1, the view from above. When you feel overwhelmed by a problem, when a conflict feels like the end of the world, just stop. Close your eyes. Imagine you are floating up out of your body, looking down on the room you're in. Float higher, seeing your city like a glittering map. Higher still, seeing your country, then the continent. And then you see the earth, a tiny blue marble suspended in the infinite silence of space. From that perspective, how big is your problem now? That argument over an email, that criticism from a friend, is it still so important? This exercise doesn't make the problem disappear, but it puts it in its proper place. Small and not worth trading your inner peace for. Tool 2, fear setting. This is the modern version of rehearsing disaster. Instead of vaguely worrying about the future, confront it head on. Take a piece of paper and answer 3 questions based on the method from author and modern Stoic practitioner Tim Ferriss. 1. Define. What is the absolute worst that could happen if you do the thing you're afraid of? Write it down specifically. 2. Prevent. What can you do to minimize the chance of those bad things happening? And 3. Repair. If the worst-case scenario still happens, what would you do to fix it? Or who could you ask for help? You want to quit your job to start a business? The worst fear? Running out of money? Failing? Being embarrassed? Prevent? Save up 6 months of living expenses. Repair? Go back and find another job, learning from your mistakes. You see? A fear that is clearly defined becomes a problem that can be managed. And tool 3, perhaps the simplest one to begin with. The 2-question journal. You don't need to write for hours. Every night before bed, just answer 2 questions in a notebook or on your phone. 1. What was outside my control today that bothered me? Writing this down helps you identify and learn to let go. And 2. What action did I take today that was in line with the person I want to become? This question helps you reinforce virtue and focus on what you can control, yourself. 3 tools. Simple but not easy. It requires persistence. But just like building a fortress, every single stone you lay today, no matter how small, contributes to an unshakable stronghold for your mind in the future. And so, we've reached the end of our journey. We started with a paradox. The world's most powerful people turning to ancient wisdom to face the most modern challenges. We entered their gilded cage, felt the weight of their high-stakes decisions, and then we decoded the mental operating system that kept them steady, from the art of the strategic no, to the building of an inner citadel, to using death itself as a compass for legacy. Finally, abstract philosophy was turned into sharp tools you can now hold in your hands. A view from above to shrink your problems, a fear-setting exercise to tame the future, and a 2-question journal to guide your day. Stoicism, in the end, isn't a collection of nice quotes. It's a practice, a relentless training. There's a parable about a man who wanted to move a mountain. Every day he would go and carry away a single small pebble. The people laughed at him, but he just replied, "I know I cannot move the mountain in a day, but I know that if I carry 1 pebble every day, someday, the mountain will have to move." Building calm and wisdom is the same. Every exercise you practice, every time you choose reason over reaction, is a pebble you are removing from the mountain of anxiety within you. And here is my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, choose the simplest tool, the 2-question journal. Just 5 minutes every night. See how it changes the way you look at your day. Stoicism is not a destination, it's a path. And each of us is on that path with our own unique challenges. And so I want to know, on your path beyond calmness, which Stoic virtue, courage, justice, or wisdom are you most eager to cultivate? Share your story and your reflections in the comments below. I'll be reading every single one.